guess that's a good thing.
E3 is all about revealing the games and making a big splash, but while many of the games at the show see their way to store shelves within the next year, a number of them miss projected deadlines, fade into the background, or go silent altogether. We're here to bring you a status report. We've gone through last year's press conferences to identify which games are still works in progress, and took a look at where they are a year later.
Coming this holiday season. Or some holiday season, hopefully kind of soon. You know how video games are.
Come on, let's tear this damn thing.
We'll start with EA, who led the Xbox exclusive Plants vs. Zombies Garden Warfare, which is now officially coming to PC, PS3, and PS4. Little was said on stage for the revival of this fan favorite, as the teaser did all the talking. DICE reportedly begged to work on the game, and it's planned for release in mid-2015, alongside the new Star Wars film. It's confirmed to be appearing in more substantial form at this year's show, and there's hope that EA will have other Star Wars games to reveal as well. Last year, Dragon Age dropped the 3 and promised a release in fall 2014. So far, EA's made good on that promise, announcing an October 7th street date. There's been a fairly steady stream of info, including details on the 3 main classes and the recent Inquisitor trailer. Ending the show is a teaser for the rebirth of Mirror's Edge, committing only to release when it's ready. The time frame hasn't become any clearer, but reports indicate that the project is being taken quite seriously and is moving forward after years of experiments. Even if it doesn't appear again at this year's E3, we have faith that DICE won't put their darling back on the rooftops until it can provide a truly stunning view.
Hey everybody, and welcome to Ubisoft E3 2013.
The French publisher brought their usual odd flair to E3 2013 with the return of Aisha Tyler, a rock star on guitar, and a tantalizing trailer that just ended up being the next Trials game. To their credit, most of what Ubi showed actually has made it into players' hands, with 2 notable exceptions. With a massive map of the United States, The Crew and its open-world MMO nature came as an unexpected addition to the company's lineup. On stage, it was announced for a release in early 2014, which has come and gone. It was later targeted for the summer and now due for the fall. The good news is that the extra time is paying off, and recent hands-on have proven better than when we first turned the ignition last E3. The biggest showstopper was The Division, a mid-apocalypse shooter focusing on working in groups and sporting stunning visuals. Few likely expected the game to be out this year, and a release date in 2015 recently made the rounds. Thankfully, we did get a nice dev diary on the Snowdrop engine in the meantime.
Hello everyone, this is Satoru Iwata from Nintendo.
Of the big 3, we'll focus on Nintendo first, who swapped a traditional press conference for their pre-recorded presentation. Like Ubisoft, much of Nintendo's roster actually did make it out according to plan, although Donkey Kong Country Tropical Freeze did see a minor delay. The Umbran Witch had a playable demo at E3, but even then was slotted in for a 2014 street date. We got another peek at the game in February, and it's still on track for a summer release in Japan and a US release by year's end. Hopefully, E3 will bring a new demo and release date we can count on. Last year, Monolith Soft's untitled follow-up to Xenoblade Chronicles was shown with plans for a 2014 window. We've gotten a healthy look at gameplay since then, but the lack of a real name is starting to make us nervous. Xenoblade released in 2010 in Japan, so the team has had plenty of time to work on the sequel. The question is whether localization has kept the pace, or if we'll be looking at another significant gap between Japan and the rest of the world. The next Smash Bros. Certainly hasn't been hiding, and at this point it feels as if every important detail has been shouted from the rooftops. Nintendo has revealed characters, levels, online options, and even a GameCube controller adapter. They're hosting a major tournament at E3 and putting the demo in Best Buy stores for anyone to try. Smash will absolutely dominate Nintendo's E3, but we're still worried that the final Wii U version may slip into next year. As we move on to the other major platform holders, the balance shifts as both Sony and Microsoft talked about a number of games that wouldn't be ready for prime time in the coming year. While Sony's last major PS3 lineup filled out the fall quite nicely, PS4 titles seem to be slipping past their expected dates.
It is a new world for us. For all of us.
The surprise trailer for this new Victorian-era shooter from Ready at Dawn didn't tell us much. Then earlier this year, we were given a chance to see the game in action as Sony promised an October release. The demo looked beautiful, but still seemed quite rough, so when recent news came that the game would be delayed to 2015, we weren't all that surprised. If E3 provides a meaty look at gameplay, it'll at least soften the blow. With Gran Turismo sticking it out on PS3, DRIVECLUB looked to be the obvious choice for driving fans picking up a PS4, and a free version planned to arrive simultaneously made a strong case to invest in PlayStation Plus. Unfortunately, as the PS4 launch approached, DRIVECLUB was mysteriously absent from hands-on previews, eventually slipping to spring, and now coming almost a year later on October 7th. Here's hoping it hasn't lost that new car smell.
At long last, the vengeance of Saddam the Dark will be unleashed.
Their actual games may be polarizing, but Quantic Dream certainly knows how to get people talking with expressive technology. There was never any illusion that the Dark Sorcerer would evolve into something more, but now that the developer is wrapped up beyond Two Souls, we're eager to see what they can come up with on PS4. The middle of Sony's presentation took the time to highlight a broad lineup of indie games planned to fill out the gaps in the PS4 schedule. Of what we saw on stage, about half have made it out so far, as we've been able to get ample time with games like Transistor, Don't Starve, and Octodad.
Into a super stylish spaghetti western.
Secret Ponchos was at PAX East, but missed its estimated spring release, with a PC version planned for Steam's early access program in the summer. In March, Raise the Dead was listed as a winter release, meaning it could likely slip into 2015. On the same schedule, Gallic Z was listed as a summer release, and it's now also coming to the Vita. Meanwhile, Oddworld New and Tasty has slipped from spring to an unknown time frame, but the developer's blog is brimming with updates for anyone interested. Despite the game coming to Xbox as well, Sony's been keen to talk about Diablo 3 on PlayStation, with exclusive themed goodies based on games like Uncharted and Journey. Last-gen versions came out in September, but players were left wondering about PS4 and Xbox One until May, when Blizzard revealed that the Ultimate Evil Edition is finally coming on August 19th. That includes Reaper of Souls, and if you've already been playing on consoles, you can transfer your character to one of the new versions if you wish. After years of disappointment, we've grown to expect the absence of Final Fantasy Versus 13 from E3, but it actually showed up last year, rebranded as Final Fantasy 15, to roaring applause. A bit more was shown at TGS, and more recently Square Enix humorously stated that the game is quite far along in development. The game's been in the works for 8 years. The much-rumored Kingdom Hearts 3 made its debut in Sony's conference as well, and likewise teased a bit of extra footage in Japan last fall. However, neither game has a release date yet, and we're not about to place any bets. In their third-party showcase, Sony was happy to talk about aligning with Bethesda and stealing cheese wheels. A new trailer for The Elder Scrolls Online announced the game would come to PS4 in spring of 2014. The PC version managed to hit that window, launching in April, but console versions planned for June were met with delays, roughly pushing the game back 6 more months. Sony's conference ended with the gameplay premiere of Destiny, Bungie's massive new shooter. Activision wisely kept the date broad, simply stating it would come out in 2014. At this point, Destiny seems to be on track to hit its release date on September 9th, and with Activision pledging a $500 million investment in the franchise, you can expect big things to come at next week's show.
It's not just them. The whole world wants you dead.
Vying with Sony for the most unreleased games is Microsoft. Outside of the Xbox One's launch lineup, Titanfall and Dark Souls 2, there hasn't been much from their conference that's seen the light of day, and some of their games have the weirdest stories of the bunch.
You're a legend in the eyes of those who live on the battlefield.
Kojima jump-started E3 in the best way possible, using Microsoft's platform to show Snake, keeping it stealthy in a huge open world. There's still plenty of secrets about the Phantom Pain, but the iconic director has kept fans on a constant drip feed of hints and intel, even stating that this year's trailer might be tough to watch. However, he also took time to clearly demonstrate that Ground Zeroes runs better on Sony's console, so it wouldn't be a surprise if Microsoft doesn't invite him back.
Coming to your home in 2013, only on Xbox One!
The incremental release schedule for Killer Instinct is certainly one of the odder things Microsoft has done on the Xbox One. When the console launched, the fighter showed promise but had limited features, slowly adding characters and bringing a story mode in April. The team at Double Helix certainly put their heart into the project, but now that the company has been acquired by Amazon, the torch has been passed to the Dive Kick guys at Iron Galaxy. A second season has been promised, so KI may once again have a presence at this year's show. Lo and behold, the creators of Resistance and Ratchet & Clank are making a Microsoft exclusive, and they claim it can only be done on Xbox One. The colorful Sunset Overdrive remained somewhat mysterious until last month, when a new look at the mix of platforming and shooting drew comparisons to Tony Hawk of all things. The game is slated for this fall, and we're expecting multiplayer to feature heavily in its next appearance at E3. Oh, Minecraft. So many blocks, so much money. An Xbox One edition was briefly mentioned on stage, but without word of when to expect it. We now know it's coming in August. If you already own Minecraft on Xbox 360, you can upgrade for just $5 and bring your save file too. From concept to execution, Alan Wake was one of those games that seemed to spend an eternity in development, and it seems that Remedy may be falling into a similar pattern with Quantum Break. We're not sure what to make of its TV show tie-ins or time manipulation, and it'll be a bit longer before we learn more. The latest news is that the game won't be out in 2014, and it seems to be skipping E3 in favor of Gamescom in August. Swery, the quirky director behind Deadly Premonition, is making an exclusive detective game with optional Kinect controls. It's the right kind of weird, and we haven't really seen it since Tokyo Game Show. With Microsoft unbundling the Kinect from the Xbox One, it's hard to say what they'll do with D4. Project Spark is essentially game development for beginners, providing a creative platform to flesh out your own ideas, although the structure of its microtransactions has rubbed some users the wrong way. It's been in open beta since March, but whenever the official release comes, it's hard to say whether it'll open the gates of players' imaginations or pass as a silent milestone.
Nilfgaard's legions had pierced the heart of the Northern Realms.
The epic close to the Witcher trilogy had a great trailer on Microsoft's stage, but the real reveal was hidden behind closed doors with a lengthy gameplay demonstration. Amazingly, the footage still hasn't been made public, and aside from a handful of brief trailers, there's been quite little of the game in the wild. This E3 could very well change that, and CD Projekt Red is holding their own press conference to show the game in action this Thursday before the big event. The final game itself will take a bit longer, though, as it's been pushed back to next year. The next stylish adventure from Capybara Games is a dark and deadly trek through a massive world. Below hasn't stayed completely in the shadows. Reports from folks who played it at PAX East have been overwhelmingly positive, but there's still no indication of when we'll be able to bring it home. Remember that slick teaser showing a guy rappelling down a skyscraper knocking out a guard Splinter Cell style? Well, when Black Tusk Studios was named as the new developer on Gears of War, Phil Spencer went on record to say that that E3 video was just a concept piece, not a real game in development. We're not 100% sold on the story, but it's probably safe to scratch that one off your wish list. Rounding off our list is Microsoft's mysterious tease for the new Halo. What we know now is Halo 5 Guardians is confirmed as a 2015 release. Info on story and gameplay are still under wraps, but the company has divulged that it'll run on a brand new engine, running at 60 frames per second and sporting dedicated servers. That statement about the journey beginning in 2014, though, they haven't backed down on that. Wow. We saw a lot of games at E3 2013 that we still haven't been able to pick up and buy. So next week, when the big reveals happen, get happy, get excited. But remember, the special games that you're getting to see for the first time might just be at E3 again next year. And maybe the year after that.
Oh. Holy crap. That was all of the fun. All of it.